Today's Dharma message will be given by Eliana Jisho Sattler. Born in Paraná, Entre Rios, Argentina, Eliana had a beautiful childhood and adolescence in a loving family. From an early age, she enjoyed natural surroundings, plants, and animals. She started her career as an educator in the 1960s. Upon moving to Hawaii in 1980, she continued teaching young children. In Kona, Eliana taught at a Waldorf school and also a public school. The last 23 years of her career, she focused on therapeutic education, teaching children with diverse capacities and different way of learning. She retired in 2020 after more than 50 years of working with children. She is a member of Daifukuji Soto Mission. She serves on the board of directors and in the Zazen Kai and Dharma Keiki boards.
Thank you, Shalini. Aloha, everyone. Great to see you. And I'm very honored that Jiko Sensei asked me today to talk about one of the masters of Soto Zen schools. We see his statue. If you are looking to the Buddha to your left, this is Keizan Zenji, and in the other side we have Dogen Zenji. This year we are celebrating the 700-year memorial of Keizan Zenji. Since the late 19th century, Keizan Jokin has officially been designated, along with Dogen, as one of the two founding patriarchs of the Japanese Soto Zen school. The adoption of Keizan as a patriarch equal to Dogen was meant to symbolize that all Soto lineages also accepted Sojiji, the temple that Keizan founded, as head temple equal to Dogen's Eiheiji that we hear so much about. Keizan studies Zen directly under four of Dogen's leading disciples: Ejo, Jakuen, Gien, and Ikai. And we can see, as I said, the two wooden statues that in the board we are trying to have repaired and renewed, and we're very excited that we have somebody that will visit us to decide how to continue with the project. They're very dear to us, have been there for many years, and need a little touch-up, like I do too. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about the childhood of Keizan Zenji. Two other Dharma friends have done a bit of an exploration on the later years, and so I'm going to remain with him as a young person, but also I will talk about the tremendous influence that his mother and his grandmother had in his life. That is very touching to me and to many of us, because with him, the role of women in Zen really changed from just being patrons to being influential in the practice and in the running of temples and into the Sangha, in the Sangha as well. The sources that I utilize for my notes are William Bodiford, Thomas Cleary, and Takao Kosai. Keizan Zenji was born in medieval Japan in the year 1264 in the province of Echizen. His mother was a kind Daishi who lived in rural settings where they lived on nature spirits and shamanism was very, very strong. You will see how Keizan was such an important figure, bringing not only the seriousness of Zen with all the rules, with the protocols that are very important, with a certain playfulness in this nature spirits beliefs that were so strong in the Japanese culture in medieval times. Eikan, also his mother, believed in the power of dreams, visions, and astrological readings. She was a very dedicated devotee to Canon Sama, that today we will have the honor to walk over all the soil of all the temples of the 33 Canon temples in Japan. So this is very, very meaningful to understand the story and the foundations of the Soto Zen school with the beautiful canon so intermingled with it, thanks to Keizan. She was also a dedicated devotee to Canon Sama, that, as we know, is another name for Avalokiteshvara, that is the Sanskrit name of this Bodhisattva. Bodhisattva of compassion, Bodhisattva of mercy, the one that hears all the cries of the world. It is said that Canon hears the cries of the world. As a young woman, Eikan had the fortitude and inspiration to repair a statue of Canon Sama that she placed on an altar. Eikan was separated from her mother Miyochi when she was 18 years old. Many years later, Eikan Daishi, Keizan's mom, went to a temple in Kyoto to pray for support in finding her mother. The Kiyomizu temple was known for the healing waters that ran down the hillsides into pools. Eikan drank this water, who she knew had healing powers, and one morning she saw a carved head of Canon lying in the mud. It was a small and nicely carved head, and she made a vow to have a body carved and set the statue at home. She asked Canon to help her find her mother, and soon after, Eikan Daishi found her mother, who has been Dogen's late disciple when she was young. One night, Eikan dreamed that she had swallowed the warmth of the morning sun, and when she woke up, she realized she was with child. Immediately she went to the altar where she had Canon and spoke to her this way: if this unborn child is to become a holy man, a great religious master, and is to become of benefit to gods and human beings, then let me have an easy delivery. However, if these are not to be, then Avalokiteshvara, use your spiritual powers to wither it dead while still in my womb. Every day, for 7 full months, Eikan made 1,333 prostrations and recitations to Avalokiteshvara Sutra Canon Gyo. Then she traveled to worship in a building dedicated to Canon Sama. When she was in the Avalokiteshvara worship hall in Tane village in the province of Echizen, she gave birth to a male child who she named Gyosho. A short while later, Kandaishi took vows as a nun, and the baby's grandmother, Miyochi, helped raise him. This is the part that I really love because it touches my heart and how I see the relationship of mothers and teachers with children. Daishi took every opportunity to bring her baby to her favorite temple in Tokyo, the Saju Sagendo of the 33,000 canons. 1,001 canons with multiple heads. We have a statue there, you will see in darker skin, and arms. It was placed in an environment of gold and shadows. The canon figures filled her eyes, her mind, and she wanted these statues and the spirit of canon to fill the baby's mind, the baby destined to be a great leader. Keizan's spirituality was strongly influenced by his mother. The pious woman filled her young son's fertile imagination as he stood before the statue of the Bodhisattva with stories of how those who reverence canon would be richly rewarded. He inherited the diverse magical religious beliefs of medieval Japan just as readily as he has accepted his mother's faith in canon. And there is where I find that relationship. I have other friends in the audience that also work in Waldorf with me and understand this tremendous influence that we can have with the stories, with magical stories, with fairy tales, with nature. Going into nature just to be with nature, not in the scientific way, but in the presence, in the feeling, in the observing, in feeling your eyes, in feeling your heart. That's what we need for the children, and Keizan was so lucky to have that kind of influence. I read somewhere that children are vessels full of dreams. Please treat with care. Today, when the theme, the Spanish is getting into my English, like a student of mine used to say. Today's theme of our gathering here is walking the path of compassion. That's we need for ourselves, for the Sangha as adults, but for the children. Today we concentrate sometimes in the pain in the world, all these wars, all these tremendous things, and I try to think of everyone but the children. The children are the ones that really touch me, how much we need to care. Thank you, Derek, you're doing a great job. The first 8 years of his religious development seems to have been guided as much by women as by men. Women play powerful roles in many early Zen communities, as I mentioned before, including those of Dogen and Hien, but just as patrons. Keizan, he learned from women, and as I said before, especially his mother, Kandaishi, and his grandmother, Miyochi. In later life, Keizan had a very strong relationship with Sonin that he felt was a reincarnation of his grandmother. He spent his first 8 years raised by his grandmother, who was one of Dogen's first patrons on his return from China. So Keizan's links to the Soto Zen school began literally before his worldly existence. As a young toddler, he was guided to work with his quick temperament. I can relate with this. Keizan tended to explode in righteous anger when perceiving injustice. And he prayed to Canon to help him to be more compassionate and kind. He left home at 7 years of age to become a novice at Eiheiji. He was given the name Jokin. His decision to become a monk might have been prompted by his grandmother urging or by her death. He had a mystical temperament and had, as his mother before, frequent visions and dreams from which he drew strength to carry on. At age 13, he again went to live at Eiheiji and was officially ordained as a monk under Eiheiji Zenji, and he was given the name Keizan Jokin. When Eiheiji Zenji looked upon this young 13-year-old boy so fervently committed to the precepts of the Buddha, he is said to have prophetically foreseen a source of hope for the then beleaguered Soto school. Keizan had an enormous influence in Japanese Soto Zen, and most important trait was his ability to combine the monastic religion of Zen with the simple religious sentiments of rural Japan. So, having a conversation yesterday with Jiko Sensei, I was made aware that Avalokiteshvara, the original Bodhisattva of compassion in India, was represented as a male figure. Then in China, Kannon Suma was represented as a female, Kuan Yin. And we have a binary, Kannon Sama, and also beautiful paintings of females, Kannon, by Mayumi Ota that I see here in the audience. Thank you, Mayumi, for those beautiful paintings. So I invite you to hold in your heart and open your heart, the bodhicitta, to more compassion, more kindness, more love, and having this beautiful Zen master from more than 700 years, because 700 years that he passed away. And that not to forget that our temple, our Daifukuji, not only is guided by a magnificent female reverend, but also we have that beautiful hall dedicated to Kannon, and that every third Wednesday of the month, 10 o'clock in the morning, we gather in the hall to honor Kannon Sama. Namo Kanzeon Bosatsu. Namo Kanzeon Bosatsu.